winter kicks off with days of stormy weather on the docket.
This is not convenient for business owners. We need to feed our family.
We'll check in with North Bay businesses already hurt by flooding and how people around the region are preparing for the impact of stronger storms to come.
It goes right through your house like a hot knife through butter.
Plus, thousands still in the dark in San Francisco.
It's unacceptable, and we're going to demand answers.
What we're learning about this ongoing outage and the economic toll it's already taken on locals.
My staff just waiting.
And later, we're following the recovery efforts of a missing swimmer who may have been attacked by a shark near Monterey.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Hi there, I'm Sarah Donchie. Juliette Goodrich has the night off tonight. Get ready for a wet Christmas. It's going to be stormy. We're in a first alert weather mode basically for the whole week as multiple storms are coming across the Bay Area. This is a live Doppler radar look of the rain currently moving through. It looks like it's mostly the strongest up in the far North Bay right now. The strongest storm still ahead of us, though. But the first round of rain overnight and this morning flooded roads and some low-lying marshy areas up in the North Bay. Meantime, this is a live look at some busy Bay Area bridges, some of them a little heavier than others traffic-wise. Not causing too many issues overall for this evening commute. Perhaps some people have already gotten out of town. The Christmas travel window, though, is going to start to ramp up. Stormy weather usually makes a mess at SFO, even more so 3 days before Christmas when so many people are flying around. And according to the website FlightAware, more than 30% of all flights out and about a third of flights into SFO have been delayed. That's the highest percentage of any airport in the United States. Let's bring in Darren Peck with a look at how these storms are developing. Good thing is we had a heads up about them.
Yeah, and Sarah, you said it right. The rain right now is hung up in the North Bay. Let me show you why that's going to change tomorrow. Tomorrow is the main event of the whole 5-day period, but specifically second half of the day tomorrow. We're going to change our perspective a bit. Let's look at California as a whole. Keep your eye out here, primarily off the coast. Let's get a wide view out here because you're going to watch what happens as we switch from looking at live radar. And I'm going to put this into the Futurecast. And what you're going to see show up on here is the rain gets pulled off the coast tonight. So light showers in the North Bay tonight, sure. But then it's going to kind of really quiet down even in the North Bay. But what that means is the storm itself is trying to pull all of the really good ingredients back into the center of it so that it can then bring it all onshore tomorrow with much more purpose. This is really impressive in terms of comparing what the rain was like today compared to what it'll be like tomorrow. The yellow line I'm walking down here is the cold front. That is what's going to march its way on shore tomorrow night. Keep your eye on here as we play this forward. And you can see that line out there approaches the coast, and then we can come in for a somewhat closer look here so you can see where Santa Rosa is, San Francisco and Monterey. That's our perspective on where we are. That's the bay. That cold front is going to sweep through tomorrow night, and that's when the intensity of the rain is going to go up. You can see it here with perhaps a little more clarity, kind of give you the big picture idea of how this is organized, but this is always a bit more helpful to really pick out your part of the bay and time this out and see why tomorrow night is the main event. So we'll slow this down, give you the specifics on rainfall amounts and wind speeds coming up in just a few minutes. For now, Sarah, back to you.
Okay, Darren, you know, even before all the rain started, thousands and thousands of people in San Francisco were dealing with something of a mess, a massive power outage. At one point, almost a third of the city was in the dark. Look at that video. It really tells the story there. For a lot of people, their homes and businesses have gone without power for more than 48 hours, which is pretty disruptive when you think about it. This is a look at PG&E's outage map. It looks very different than it did over the weekend. Right now, about 3,800 customers still have no power, especially in that area near Civic Center downtown where you find a lot of high-rise apartment buildings in particular. That's that little orange spot that you see on the map there. Now, the mayor says they had to cancel weddings at City Hall, which is probably also disruptive for people. Our Brad Hamilton joins us live from City Hall tonight. I know you've been talking to people pretty much all day, Brad, who are all, it sounds like, pretty frustrated.
Yeah, that was definitely the theme of the day, Sarah. And right now, the actual City Hall itself is running on a backup generator at the moment. So it tells you that recovery process still underway here. And tonight we're learning just a bit more about how this all happened. But first, let's talk about the latest numbers. PG&E now says that most of power has been restored throughout the city, but just about 4,000 customers are still without electricity tonight. PG&E says the outage started Saturday afternoon when a fire at its substation near 8th and Mission damaged a circuit breaker. To keep firefighters safe, crews had to shut down additional parts of the system, which ultimately caused that blackout to spread across San Francisco. One of the places still without power again, right here at City Hall, and that's where just a short time ago, Mayor Daniel Lurie addressed his concerns with how this was handled.
I have told them that, tens and tens of millions of dollars is probably an underestimate, undercount. It was a huge holiday weekend. Our restaurants, our bars, our small business owners out in the Richmond district, in Hayes Valley.
Earlier today, we spoke with a restaurant owner in the Sunset District. His business was without power for 40 hours, spoiling his entire food supply. For him, the hardest part was the constant delays on when he'd get his power back.
Again, and then the next time, another day. Oh my God, that's like, I don't know how to plan it, and my staff just waiting.
Again, PG&E now saying that Tuesday morning, the rest of the 4,000 customers without power will get it back. That is something we heard starting on Saturday, and hopefully this time it is the end for a lot of people here. But we do know that a third party is now investigating what all went down on Saturday to cause that massive blackout.
Yeah, Brad, I've been talking to some people downtown who say they were getting ready for a holiday trip when their power went out, or they don't have any water in their building. So I know a lot of people are still upset about this, and thank you so much for your reporting. We'll stay on top of it, I assure you of that. For those who need help, there are 2 charging stations available right now. The mayor just announced a center on Mission Street from 6 p.m. to midnight, and the Richmond Recreation Center, as we know, has been offering resources for some time now. You can get blankets, snacks, chargers, heating, the city says. That center is in the heart of the Richmond, just off California Street and 19th Avenue. Now, during his press conference, Mayor Lurie said he had to make a call to the CEO of Waymo to get them off of the streets during the height of the blackout. Online video shows Waymo's stalling at the powerless traffic lights. It seemed like they didn't really know how to handle it. One robo-taxi was blocking an emergency vehicle in one video. Mayor Lurie says the company complied, but it needs to do better to communicate with the city during emergencies like this. All right, now back to all of these storms that we're dealing with. People in Napa County are still trying to deal with the aftermath of overnight flooding there that already made a mess of their morning commute. State Route 121 shut down because of flooding near Route 12 and Sonoma Creek. One business owner says that the frequent shutdowns of the road during inclement weather has a real impact.
People can't make their way. They close the roads and no one can make their way from Napa to our stores. This is not convenient for business owners. We need to feed our family.
A spokesperson for the Santa Rosa Fire Department is asking drivers to be careful on the roads given all of the flooding and even more rain. In the East Bay, the focus is more about preparing for the next couple of days when the downpours continue and strong winds are expected to rip through the hills. That could be a problem. Let's go ahead and bring in Kara St. Cyr. She's live in the Oakland Hills, tracking these holiday week storms. I know people up there know all about strong winds. I'm sure they're getting ready, right, Kara?
That's absolutely right. Now, today was a pretty slow start to those storms in Oakland. Not much rain, but you're right. That potential for strong winds is really what has everybody concerned, especially in areas like this one in the Oakland Hills, because they've got these really, really tall trees, and strong winds can, of course, push some of these trees down or their limbs. So today it was all about preparation in the East Bay, making sure that there's no debris on the roads and no tree limbs.
Out of the nooks and crannies so that the water doesn't.
Yeah, just simple as that.
After this morning's heavy rain, John Linder isn't taking any chances. Storm prep is first on the agenda.
It's plugged up here and can't get down to the drain. So I have to take a shovel and clean this out.
A series of holiday storms is expected to hit the Bay Area this week, with Tuesday posing a risk to people living in the hills, like Linder. He's been using the leaf blower to clear debris, but his real concern is the trees.
I've had in the past where a pine tree has fallen on my house. And when it does, people don't realize, it goes right through your house like a hot knife through butter.
Tuesday's storms come with a serious risk for strong winds. Off camera, a spokesperson for the Oakland Fire Department says downed trees and fallen limbs are a primary concern. That's why Shami Sahandi, the public information officer for the Department of Public Works, says the city's been in prep mode for days.
There were a few calls over the weekend for downed trees and tree limbs, so crews have gone out to address those. Those specific reports have been cleared, but again, you never know what to expect during these storms.
Sahandy says crews are also working to keep Oakland's drains clear, preventing water from pooling in flat areas.
We also have standby crews, so anytime, day or night, that there's an issue, folks can report it to 311, and crews will be out to address it.
But despite calls for severe weather, Christmas shoppers were still out near Piedmont Avenue. Sophie Spindle, a sales associate at Prism Makers Loft, says this time of year is her busiest.
Hi there. How's it going?
Good, thanks.
Good.
She's relieved the weather didn't get in the way of the Christmas spirit.
I think people are, especially during the holidays, are eager to shop, and there's a sense that they've saved all of the time and energy and money to do it at this time. So the second it stops, people come in.
So obviously the bad weather is not going to stop the holiday festivities, but officials are just warning, if you do have to go outside tomorrow, just be careful. Don't drive through standing water and just be aware of your surroundings. Back to you.
Yeah, hopefully people's jobs are flexible. I know some people have the week off, some people don't. So hopefully there's some patience there with people's employers. Kara, thank you for that advice. If you want the latest on this week's stormy weather and your forecast in your neighborhood, we're going to be doing continuous updates. So stay with us on the air on the free CBS News app and on our website, kpix.com. Still ahead here at 6, a search is suspended for a missing swimmer near Monterey. What we're learning about the woman who witnesses say may have been attacked by a shark. Plus, more suspects behind bars after a shocking jewelry store robbery in San Jose, where police finally tracked down the man who they say attacked the shop's elderly owner. In Pacific Grove, police just identified the swimmer who went missing yesterday afternoon as 55-year-old Erica Fox. She had disappeared while she was swimming near Lover's Point with her group, the Kelp Crawlers. Police say that witnesses said they saw a large splash, and they are considering the possibility that it was a shark attack. Our Scott Rates has the latest on their investigation.
Yeah, at this hour, that search and recovery effort has been called off. Crews were out here for hours yesterday afternoon and this morning searching. However, they were unable to find any trace of that 55-year-old woman who was swimming just offshore here behind me. Using a helicopter, drones, boats, divers, and binoculars, search and rescue teams working to locate a missing swimmer last seen in the waters at Lover's Point in Pacific Grove.
There are sharks out there in the ecosystem.
Investigators say the incident happened here just after noon on Sunday. Police say that a 55-year-old woman was swimming about 100 yards offshore with a group of other people. Witnesses say they saw a big splash, and then the woman was gone. Police also saying that people in the area reported seeing a shark.
And I heard that there was a shark sighting.
On Monday, the waters around Lover's Point empty. Warning signs posted alerting the public to possible shark activity. This is not the first time that sharks have been dealt with in this area. In June of 2022, in the same spot, a man was attacked by a shark. He was rushed out of the water and taken to the hospital, surviving that attack. 2 months later, a shark took a bite out of a man's paddleboard. You can see what was left of it here. Erin Hubach knows a thing or two about sharks. She works for the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Monterey Bay, as a very healthy ecosystem, does have a lot of species of sharks. Some of the more common species close to shore are going to be smaller sharks like swell sharks, horn sharks, even things like you might find seven-gill sharks right out here in the bay. There are, of course, some larger species as well, things like thresher sharks, and then blue sharks, salmon sharks, white sharks, all kinds of sharks right out here in the bay.
It's still unclear about what kind of shark might have been involved on Sunday. Police telling me that if they get any more leads, they will resume the recovery efforts.
Police also say that Lover's Point Beach will be closed through tomorrow. A beach advisory is in effect for nearby shores, including Monterey State Beach and Del Monte Beach. In San Jose, police have arrested 2 more people after that violent jewelry store robbery back in September, including the man suspected of attacking the elderly shop owner. This was at Kim Hung Jewelry on Aborn Road. Police say a car rammed into the store before people rushed inside, multiple people at that, stealing thousands of dollars worth of items. One suspect was seen on video pushing the 88-year-old shop owner. He was sent to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. These are the latest robbery suspects arrested. On the left is 19-year-old Jamian Miller from Tracy. Police think he is the one who attacked the elderly man. On the right is 19-year-old Wesley Miller, an Oakland resident. 13 other people have been arrested in that case. The CHP is investigating a deadly crash on Highway 4 in Antioch involving a suspect who was running from police. This happened near the Summersville Road exit just after 10:30 this morning. Police say that they were responding to a call at Delta Bowl when the suspect took off, hopped a fence, and got on the highway. That is where they were hit and killed by a car. We have learned that the driver is a member of the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office who was passing by but was not involved in the pursuit. The county has turned over the investigation to the state agencies to avoid any conflict of interest, they say. Coming up, when we get downpours, the Sierra gets snow. We'll look at the first real snowfall of the season there and what the rest of the storms have in store for us. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Department rescued a driver last night who was stranded in floodwaters. Officers shared these photos near Slesser Road and River Road in Santa Rosa. You can see the street there covered in water, submerging the bottom of the car. The driver was forced to climb onto the roof to get out. This series of winter storms is finally bringing some much needed snow to the Sierra, which really hasn't had much to date. Flooding on Interstate 80 in Placer and Nevada counties is making for some hazardous conditions on the road, though. Chain controls are in effect for trucks on eastbound 80 near Applegate and on all vehicles near Prosser Dam Road in Truckee. All right, Darren has been tracking the storm, the snow, all of it. A really busy week for weather for us.
So many different parts of it. I want to give you the big picture explanation of how this is all put together. It'll help us understand why there are waves of times where everything goes up on the intensity scale, including rain and wind, and why the snow, which has been lousy so far, is going to get so much better in about a day and a half. Let's go to some of the forecast imagery, and I want you to see the way the storm is put together as a whole. What we've been looking at today is a long stream of rain coming our way. That's your atmospheric river. Gave us some pretty steady rain. Watch what happens tomorrow. That gets pulled off the coast and wrapped up into the center of the storm, and this is the main event. That's tomorrow, second half of the day. That's a lot more widespread. It's a lot steadier, and it'll be heavier at times. There's going to be some thunderstorms mixed in that line. It's also going to get windy. This right here is the main event. We're going to look at it again in more detail in a second, but I'm just giving you the overview. Once that passes on, this is like Tuesday afternoon and evening into very early Wednesday, it finally starts snowing in earnest in the Sierra. You needed that. Then there's another one behind it. Now this is Wednesday night going into Thursday morning, and look at that. It's an entirely separate storm. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we get another round of widespread rain. It won't be as good as what we're going to see Tuesday night and Wednesday. That's the main event. This is the second and the final one, and then it'll clear out by the time we start to get past it. So there's that line of rain that's about to get pulled off the coast, wrapped up in the center of the storm, and then that will get brought back tomorrow. And you can see why Tuesday, all of a sudden, the screen's going to light up with much brighter colors, and we'll get better rain. But the majority of that is not till the second half of the day. So once again, tomorrow, you may not notice much in terms of rainfall, especially if you're not in the North Bay. And then by the time we get towards late afternoon, early evening, it will get more intense. There will be some isolated thunderstorms mixed in here. We're now so late Tuesday, we're looking at early Wednesday. That's a little past midnight now, so technically we're at Wednesday. South Bay's getting its share. Isolated thunderstorms, 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. Then we get to Wednesday. And on Wednesday here, we get another break, like first half of the day, before that second system comes in. And that does it again Wednesday night into Thursday. More widespread rain there. Going into Thursday morning. And then after Thursday morning, what we should be seeing is just some leftover scattered showers when we've got to get through about Friday before we're finally done with all of this. Here's how much rain we could see in total between now and then. Keep in mind, we've already gotten 2 inches in San Francisco. This is additional to that. North Bay, your numbers are already up easily around 2 inches. You'll get another 3 inches to go. This is why we've got a flood watch stays in effect till Friday, primarily for roads. That covers the rain. Let's talk about the wind. Watch how things pick up here as we get into Tuesday night late. That's 10 o'clock. All of a sudden now we've got 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts along the coast. This is the arrival of the center of that storm. Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Then it'll calm down. Most of Wednesday won't be terribly windy until we get to very late Wednesday night. So late it's actually early Thursday, Christmas morning. Just as Santa's coming in a little past midnight, we've got another round of strong wind. 40-mile-an-hour gusts along the coast. And then by the time we get towards sunrise on Thursday, that will have calmed down and that will get better. Now, the snow in the Sierra hasn't really been much, but look what's about to happen in the later cycle of this storm. Let's come in for a closer look at I-80, Highway 50. So far, you've been able to drive up there without too much trouble until you get to around 7,000 feet, and it will stay that way through tomorrow. But after that cold front goes through that we're going to get hit with here first on Tuesday night, it then hits the Sierra going into Wednesday morning. Watch what the snow does. Much more cold air to work with. Snow level drops, comes down to 5,000 feet, and now we're looking at several feet of snow up at the passes. Takeaway on this is, if your plan is to be in the Sierra for a white Christmas and you have the means to do so, go now. If you try to drive up there on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, it'll be a mess. It'll be a lot more difficult. You still need chains if you're going over the passes now even, but at least you'll get a longer stretch of the drive where you'll be able to avoid needing chains, and it'll be far more doable from now through about, say, tomorrow afternoon. Much easier drive. From Tuesday night onward, very difficult to get there and to get back. All right, 7-day forecast shows you that we're still in first alert status till Friday afternoon. Then this comes to an end. There's nothing happening back here as we get to next weekend. All right, Sarah, back to you.
All right, Darren, thank you. When we come back, we say one last goodbye to a legendary Bay Area trailblazer. She was the oldest national park ranger and helped preserve the history of women of color during World War II. Now the Bay Area is mourning the death of Betty Reed Soskin. Born Betty Charbonnet, she was a file clerk during World War II and alongside her husband founded Reed's Records, a popular record store. Later in life, she helped establish the Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historical Park to highlight the contributions of women and people of color to the war effort. She then became a park ranger at the age of 85. We dropped in for her 104th birthday celebration at her namesake school in El Sobrante. She told us that life blossomed for her as she got older.
There have been so many parts of my history that have been stood out. And they all started after I was 50.
Soskin died at her Richmond home early yesterday morning. Details about a public memorial in her honor will be released at a later date. Our thoughts, of course, are with her family. The CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues on our streaming service, CBS News Bay Area. We're back here in 30 minutes with CBS News Bay Area at 7.